Hello everyone, welcome back again. So far we have formatted and inserted text. We've done the same with numbers, and we've looked at a few extra things like ribbons and moving cells about and what cells are named, that type of thing. In this lesson, we are going to cover formulas now, Autosum, which is a special type of formula, percentages, hide and unhide, and insert and delete rows and columns, okay, all of which are really useful things to do. So here's my income statement template, as per usual, and I've put this up on as a resource for you to use as well, so you can just have a play about with it. Just remember to download it and save it to your account so you can, manipulate it in whichever way you feel like. Right, formulas. As you can see in here, I've got things that are coming up as values, and the values are saying something's wrong here. We are trying to do something in this worksheet, but it's not quite working. Something's gone wrong. And the thing that's gone wrong is there's no numbers. So let's put some numbers in. So opening inventory might be, I don't know, let's put in, let's not make it too big. Let's make it 45,000, okay? And then we're going to add purchases. Well, they're going to be quite a few. So we'll say 120,000, and carriage will be quite small. Let's put that as 4. Okay. So immediately you can see, again, that I have a formula in here already. I'm just going to take away that formula. Okay. And I added up the numbers that I inputted. So to make a formula, when we write or type a sentence, we have certain rules. A sentence always starts with a capital letter and finishes with a full stop. In Excel, or in any spreadsheets for that matter, when we want to type in a formula, we always start with an equals sign. In fact, on that note, just looking at my keyboard and what button I pressed, I'll talk to you a little bit about the keyboard. Normally, when we're touch typing and things like that, we use the big section of the keyboard with all the letters and the numbers at the top and the enter key at the side, that type of thing. Because I come from an accounting and bookkeeping background, I actually use the keypad at the side. I make sure that's on with the numlock button or key at the top left-hand side of the keypad. When I press it, when it's activated, a light comes on. Just the same with caps lock. And that's my go-to all the time, really, whenever I'm using numbers, because it's so similar to a calculator. And a calculator, I can almost touch type down here. Not quite, but almost touch type here without looking at it and looking at the screen so that I'm even faster. Okay, but the equals sign. So in actual fact, let's just go through some of the features we want to know here. In my keypad, or you can use, where is it on here? This is how little I use it. Oh, it's above the question mark or below the question mark. Okay, I've got my, oh, I did that. Done that before, so that you can see I need to put them up here in our formula bar. So I've got my division sign, which is like a /. I've got my multiplying sign, which is like a star or an asterisk. Did I put a space? No, I didn't. Takeaway looks like a takeaway sign, a minus sign. Add looks like an addition sign. Now, these are all over beside the numbers in my keypad. But for equals, that's beside my delete key on my main keyboard area. Okay, I'm just going to take away all of that to press enter. And I would like my equals sign to come up. Okay, so when I'm doing operations, add, subtract, multiply, and divide, normally I will click, I won't just say, I could say 120, add 4, that would give me the number. But it's not a formula. Okay, that's a calculation for sure, but it's not a formula. A formula is going to reference other cells. And the reason for that is when I come back the next time, the time after that, or if I find out I've made a mistake for whatever reason or number changes, I can, hang on, let's take this away. I can change the number. Let's say my returns were actually 28. And my formula below, if you check out cell C9, will change immediately without me having to think about it or do anything, which again speeds up my process. And remember, time is money, and time is our most precious resource. I'll start to sound like Gollum soon. Okay, so equals. So I will click on cell E13, And carriage in. I'm going to add that to my purchases because that's another cost. So add E14. Now, I could type in E14 and E13. That's absolutely fine. I just find it quicker to click. And then just press enter. There we go. Nice and easy. Okay, so my purchases returns, I had 120 coming in. Let's just make it easy and take the 20 coming out. And again, my formula was already in there. So equals the 124. I've said over here, less purchases returns. And if you want to know more about that, come and take our budgeting course and I'll tell you why these things are so important. Okay. Or our accounting course, which will be open in the autumn. It'll be available to order, to book in August, beginning of August, and it will start in September. Okay, so minus E60. There we go. And again, I can change, let's bring that down to 18, and my figure rises because I'm doing a minus calculation. Less closing inventory. I know I'm going to take, actual fact, see, because that's got value in here at the minute, I've already said, so my template, I said, I know I want F17, which is my cost of sales figure so far. It's not finished yet. I'm going to minus my closing inventory, and that will give me my actual cost of sales figure down here. You can see I've got a title. So as soon as I put in this figure, I should have, and in fact, I'll have two numbers come up because, oh, why have I got a line underneath here? I shouldn't have that. That's going to bug me. I've just been playing about at some point. La 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 la. What am I wanting to do? Let's just put that back to no border, put a line underneath. There we go. That's better. Right, okay. And then down here, the gross profit is going to take my net sales revenue figure, and it's going to take away, because this is my total cost of sales figure, it's going to minus basically this whole section, the value of this whole section, once I put in this figure. So my closing inventory, I'm going to make it just slightly more than what it was at the start of the year. I'll say it was 48,000. And there we go. Okay, so my cost of sales is 58. Don't worry about the terminology I'm using here. Again, take the accounting course if you want to know more about that. And my gross profit is my net sales minus my cost of sales gives me this. Okay, so that's very simple. That's add and subtract. Now, I'm just going to go over here. What about if I wanted to multiply? Maybe I'm trying to find out, and that's fact, I'll put some figures in first, how much an order is going to be. So let's say each order is £100 and I sell, now hang on, that's going to come up as a currency below and I don't want it to, and I sell 15 products. Now, of course, we can do that in our head, but remember, we want to keep coming back to this and changing up the figures as we go along. Maybe it is an order form and our sales figure, our selling price, I should say, can change at any point in time. So here, I'm going to put my borders on, top and bottom. There we go. And I'm going to multiply this time because I want to find out how much my total sales is. So let's call this selling price. We'll give it a name. Okay. We'll align it to the left-hand side because it's text. And this is my quantity. Okay. And maybe I don't want the decimal points. Which in fact, no, let's do it this way. The reason it was beeping at me there is because I've got a variety of different styles of cells there. It just wasn't happy with me. I don't want that to be a pound sign because quantity is not measured in monetary terms. Okay, so again, starting my formula equals, and I can just use my arrow keys here as well, 100 times, so that's the start, 15. There we go. So in this sale, I would have £1,500 revenue. Okay, so I can pop that in here. That would be my revenue. There we are. And I want to label everything so that when I come back to it, I'm not going, what do these numbers mean? Occasionally, that will happen in my actual budget. I'll be just figuring something out. And I've got a whole bunch of numbers sitting there. I'm going, I wonder what was up to that day. because when I come back to it, I've got no clue. So if you're going to come back to that worksheet and you want to remember something, make sure you put labels on. Okay, it's very important. Okay, so that's multiplying. We can go the other way. I'm just going to copy this. So Control and C to copy and Control and V to paste. But I'm going to take out my quantity this time. And I know my revenue is £2,000. Okay. So this time my quantity is going to get the formula put in. So again, always starts with everyone together, come on, an equal sign. Okay. We're going to take the 2,000 because that's our bigger number here. That's our number at the bottom, if you like. And I'm going to divide that by / the £100. Okay. And again, because I've copied and pasted, it's not got the pound sign in there. Again, copy and paste is another useful feature that we have in the Microsoft Suite, but it's especially useful here because it's going to save you a lot of time in terms of formatting your cells and that kind of thing. Okay. So here we've had adding. Actually, no, here we've had subtracting. Over here we had adding. Here we had subtracting. Here we had multiplying. Where is it? There it is at the bottom. And then dividing. So they are our basic operations. Now, there's one cool operation that I do want to introduce you to, and that's called Autosum. So to do this, I'm going to use my little list of expenses down here. Right, rent, I'm going to say it's nice and cheap. We'll put it at £500. Our rates, we'll make £100. Our office expenses, not very much. Let's make it £34, or 34,000, I should say. Heat and light, 42, and wages are normally higher. So we'll put them up at 264. Nice round number. Right, okay. You can take that away for a second. So as you can see here, because I've deleted this cell, both my gross profit and minus my wages is exactly the same because I've taken out the middle guy. Now, I want to add up 5 different things here. Of course, I could do things the way I've said already. The 500 plus this plus, but you can see already how much time it's taking up. And especially if we've got a lot more in our list here, which, spoiler alert, when it comes to businesses, we can end up with a lot of expenses there. Okay. There is a quicker way to do this. So let me get rid of it. Okay, hang on. We want to get to the number 940. Okay. So just take that away. So I'm in the cell that I want to see the answer. And now that I've drilled this into you, I'm not going to use the equal sign. Okay. Up here, in the editing feature, we can see this funny Greek symbol and Autosum beside it. We've got a whole bunch of functions here that we can use. It's the Autosum that I want to use this time, but we can have average, count numbers, and I'll go into all of these later, but not right now. I'm going to use Autosum. And at the moment it says, right, you want to add up all these numbers here. Well, no, I don't. I want to add up the expenses. So I'm going to start it. I'm going to use my left click button in a second, and I'm going to click and drag all the way down. So clicking on the 500, I've not let go of the left mouse key yet. Okay, I'm happy. I'm checking everything before I let go, because once I let go and I've got it wrong, I'll need to do it again. Yep, I've got all my numbers. If I let go, we can see it says written down here, sum, open brackets, F23, semicolon, which means up to, F27, so include all those numbers and press enter. We have a major, and that gave us the £940. We have a major advantage here. Because quite often, especially if you are doing a test or an exam and you're using a spreadsheet to calculate addition in this case, there might be a little note at the bottom that you've missed out. Or if you're doing an accounting exam, you've got a trial balance sitting there. And when you go through things, you know, maybe at the end of the exam, you're like, oh my goodness, I've missed out advertising. Okay, it's really easy to sort, much easier than on paper. Again, for our exams in Scotland, we can choose whether to sit the exam on the computer or on paper. We as a class always decide to do things on the computer. and this is one of the reasons why. If I miss out an expense on paper, I'm going to have to rub things out, I'm going to have to squeeze little writing in, and I'm going to have to recalculate every single thing that comes after whenever I've missed something out. When we've used Autosum, we don't have to do that. I'm just going to find a space in between because it doesn't matter which order I go in. All I did there was click on the number 25, so that's row 25, and it's highlighted the whole row, which is what I want to do. Now I'm going to right-click on 25, and I'm looking for the insert feature. So insert is going to move some lines down and create a nice big space all the way along that massive worksheet. Remember, it goes all the way up to BZ something, ZZ something. Okay, the minute I'm still in the single digits, remember if I move along here, a bit further along, there's the AA, AB, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so down here, I've now got a space all the way along my worksheet. Advertising. And the advertising, I didn't spend a lot. I only spent £11,000. Right, before we press enter, we're still at 940. Nothing has changed. We've still got a running total here of, well, 1,124,000. Press enter, and we should see everything change. There we go. So everything has obviously been reduced. Well, this has gone up by 34, and my running total has gone down by 34 because this is addition, and this one is subtraction. Okay, so Autosum is when you can use Autosum, go for it, because again, if you miss something out, you can go back. If you've got something extra, maybe our Chancellor of the Exchequer has decided, do you know what? None of our companies are going to pay rates anymore. Rates, just so you know, are the business version of council tax in the UK. I think it's still called rates in Canada and the US, but it's been a couple of years since I was there. Let's say I want to take this out. I'm going to right-click on that row. No, I'm not. I'm going to just click on the number 24. Again, I want the whole row so that everything moves up. I don't want any weird spacing down here. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to press delete. You can see there are shortcuts here, but I don't use them often enough to try and remember that in my head. Okay, I don't learn phone numbers anymore. If you ask me for one from the 80s, I could still tell you then. But really now I need this space for important things like where did I leave my keys, or my wallet, or my phone. So now I have to, oh, wait a minute, let me show you that. So it was 100 there. And again, once I delete this, everything will change underneath. So let's redo that. Okay, so we're now down to only £851,000 worth of expenses, which puts up the running total because we've got less expenses. So that's good. Right, anything else I want to show you? One more thing. I said hide and unhide. Now, I know what I'll do. So when I am teaching students or pupils in my school, I'm just going to move these guys over a bit because I'm going to want some space here. I might put in some notes at the side. I tend to put it in italics so we know it's a note, and it's just to give us, again, when we're getting started, what does this mean again? I always like the pupils or the students to understand what it is we're talking about. So net sales revenue is, actually, no, I won't put it in there. I'll put cost of sales. Cost of sales. These are costs directly associated with our sales. Okay, now let's take out this little bit of AI and give that a capital T because I thought I'd press the capital there. Okay, so I've got a little note in there, and I might have a couple, but most of the time I don't want to see those notes. It's only if I've forgotten something or I go back, especially when we get to advanced higher, which remember is the second year of A-levels in the rest of the UK, or grade 12 if you're in North America. We're doing big cash flow statements with millions of pounds and things like that. It's easy to forget what everything means at the beginning. But I only want to access it when I'm just like, okay, what exactly am I doing here? Why am I using this figure again? So I want to hide it. And I hide the whole, in this case, column. Okay, I can do the same with a row as well, but I'm just going to show you on columns. So I'm going to highlight the whole column because I want to hide. I'm going to right click, and then down here I've got hide. So as you can see in my alphabet up here, it's beautiful. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I. It's almost like Star Wars, right? What was it? 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Okay, different way of counting. If I do want to see it, there are two ways. I can see, again, my mouse starts off at the fat cross. If I move it up to where H should be, I can see this double bar now. And I can just, manually, with my left click, make it the same width as everything else, move it back out again, or, let's hide it again. I can highlight the two columns on either side, right click, and press unhide, and it'll magically appear. That's much more useful if, let's say you've got a class, and all the names are down the side, and then all the test scores for the year are written, in each of the columns. And at the end of the column, there's their estimated grade. And most of the time, we just want to see the estimated grade. Occasionally, we will want to go back and go, how did they get there again? What do they need to work on? Where were their scores? So we might hide a whole bunch of columns there where it's their individual test scores. In fact, let's go all the way up to here. Hide all of these guys, okay? And we will just see their estimated grades, okay? So again, just to unhide everything very fast, unhide. And as you can see, again, it's not a shortcut that I use daily. This is just a few times throughout the year. It's a very useful function to know it's there. Okay, we've done everything I need to do in this lesson. We have covered formulas, which start with, oh no, I haven't. I missed out percentages. Let's do that right now. Okay, so let's say we want to work out net sales revenue as a percentage of our sales revenue. So what we would normally do, of course, is start with an equals sign. We take the number that we're wanting as the numerator, and we divide it by the denominator. I hope I've got them the right way around. I think I do. Right. Equals. And of course, I've still got that in italics. We'll take that off italics. Now, again, when we're working out percentages, what's the last thing we do? We multiply it by 100. Okay. And for this, I probably don't need it to that many decimal places. I'm happy with that. But it doesn't have the percentage sign. So an easy way to do this is click on the cell, and just like we had the currency in the last lesson, we can change it to percentage. And this is where AI can catch you out. You really do need to use your common sense and go, I don't think that's 9,000, well, nearly 10,000% of sales revenue. It's going to be less than 100. And the reason is the AI within the spreadsheet package is already multiplying it by 100 for you. So if you're using your common sense, you will just take the 100 off, and there you go, 99%. Not a bad percentage there at all. And again, if we want to take that out to 2 decimal places, so we'll increase our decimals, and there you have it. And remember, just the same as what I said in the last lesson, oops, 1, 2, there we go. That happened because of this guy here. We'll just take it back in, that'll do me. We can increase the decimal points as much as we like. Okay, now I'm finished. So in this lesson, we've done formulas. We've done operations within those formulas. We've done Autosum. Remember, that was down here, where we've got sum and our, in this case, we've got, by the way, you can do that horizontally as well. If I had all these numbers lined up in a row, I can Autosum in this direction. Oops. Let's do it, in fact, undo. Show you 41, 10, 5. Right, okay. Autosum. And this time, because there's no other numbers that it can add, it's saying you must want it horizontally. And press enter. It's going to give me a calculation there. Okay. We've done percentages now. We've done hide and unhide, inserted and deleted rows in our case, but you can also do the same with columns. And next time, I'm going to look at graphs and charts, and then just a couple of other formatting things that I think you would like to know, such as text direction, wrapping. I can't remember if I did that in the first one, but even if I did, we'll go over it again in the next one. Anything else I want to go over? Yes, printing, and some of the things we can do with printing. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye for now.